Hey, AJ, stop confusing people. Goku used to beat Vegeta's ass all the time.
Hey, it was perfect for the context of the tweet.
It was. Okay? It really was. It was. That's why I made sure I put LOL so you didn't think I was being serious. But I'm like, what? Goku used to beat the shit out of Vegeta. Like, what are we talking about? All right. Welcome everybody to an all-new episode of Much Ado About Something. You know, if this show is going on live, that news has dropped. Shout out to Joel for the creation of Much Ado About Something, and telling me, like, we need the pod. Let's jump on and pod about this shit. So we are calling this the State of the Union, DCEU. All right. Now, I originally had State of the Union DC, but I didn't want people to think it was political. And like, oh, I'm not watching this shit. Like, I'm not here for politics. So I'm like, well, shit, I got to put the EU in there so it doesn't confuse anyone. We're geek oriented, not politics. But I want to introduce my two panelists, starting off with Joel. What's going on, Joel?
What's going on, fellas?
And the man with the glasses, AJ. What's going on, AJ?
What's good? Finally on my day off. I'm so happy. So happy. I'm telling you, this week beat my ass.
No, I definitely see where you're coming from, AJ. I definitely see where you're coming from. All right, so let's jump right into it. We got some news from a Variety article.
You want to pull it up, or you want me to pull it up?
Yeah, you can pull it up. You can pull it up. That's fine.
Yes.
Oh shit! Hold on. Let me open it up so you can share it. All right, go ahead. So pretty much, obviously, you guys know that Warner Brothers struck a deal with Discovery to now become Warner Brothers Discovery. And the head of Warner Brothers Discovery seems like he wants to do some shaking up. And I like this. So you guys see the actual article here. We're gonna go over these big, massive points in this here said article. Now, first thing I want to say is, before I pass it to you, Joel, a lot of you guys did not read this and immediately started to say, oh no, I love the Batman, don't get rid of it. Okay. So I want to make this very clear, okay? If anything, the Batman is empowered in what he's saying. And what I mean by that is, he's saying he wants to just build a more cohesive universe where it's not something me and Joel and AJ have to constantly stress ourselves to explain to people, right? So pretty much what he's saying is what Matt Reeves originally wanted, which was, this is just my Batman universe. It's not connected to anything. I don't have to worry about it being connected. He's essentially saying, I hear you, but that was them. I want that shit possibly connected. So if I decide to, your shit will go with that Superman. You know what I'm saying? So if anything, it's no reason to be afraid that we'll never see a sequel to the Batman. If anything, this lets you know. Yeah. Right. If anything, this lets you know the future of that Batman could be a lot brighter than we ever thought it could be, if that shit does possibly become one of the pieces that connects. Now, Joel, I want to pass it to you. What are your thoughts on either just this highlighted portion AJ has here, that's really the thickness of it, or just the article as a whole? What are your thoughts on how Warner Brothers Discovery is approaching the DC universe?
Well, this is the part of the article that stood out to me the most, because I didn't know what, it sounds great, but like when you read the article and it's actually from like Zaslav, and that's where it really hits you. We're like, okay, he might be serious, and like they might actually do something. Now, it's all talk until they actually do shit. But as of right now, I like what I hear. You know, like, right. And a lot of what all we've always had was separate DCU movies. I mean, it's always been either Batman or Superman. They've been very afraid to step out of that formula, Batman, Superman, and it's always been alone, and they rarely build outside of just Batman and Superman in the movies side. And then they did, after Man of Steel, they even though they were planning to do it with Green Lantern, and obviously Green Lantern didn't work out, but they did it starting with Man of Steel, and that did work out. And they created BVS, which I remember the announcement for BVS and how fucking insane that was. That was a great moment, but those movies didn't really hit as well as we wanted it to, and they panicked, they meddled, and it became a literal combustible force that till this day we still are feeling the repercussions from, because those two movies literally from BVS and Justice League and a movie like Suicide Squad that got caught in the middle we literally still feel the impact of what happened to those movies, because there's so much bitching and complaining over what could have been, what is, and people don't want to move on, and it's just a pain. And so there was a lot of course correcting, and that's what Justice League technically was, an impact of trying to fix what was, instead of just letting it ride because of how bad BVS failed for them. They expected it to be what it was, or two different things, no matter what you thought of even the extended version of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just, and it was a lot of rushing. Justice League was already pretty much in the middle of being filmed when BVS, like the reviews for BVS came out. So like they had no time to like reconstruct an idea, because they were just trying to move. They just thought the IPs would sell them, and they did, but they still lost.
Ideas were cool. But
the ideas, it was all good on paper. You know what I mean? But it wasn't mapped out, and it was not fleshed out like it should have been. A lot of that came from a lot of different opposing views, and a lot of yes men, and not a lot of people that had an actual view for the future. And respect for the IP. I mean, you got to have people that actually understand DC and the characters and love for them, and you can't leave no man left behind. And I feel like a lot of men women have been left behind.
Also, their biggest issue is, I don't think if you're starting the DCEU, right? I believe your visionary should not be also your director, right? Because then it kind of shrinks the universe to just what one person views it as, right?
Right.
And then it's like, well, wait a minute. All right, you did Superman dark, cool. Then you do BVS that's kind of dark, okay. Then you see Wonder Woman, and you're like, there are aspects of this movie that should not be this fucking dark, right? And it's like, all right, and then Suicide Squad was completely fucking dark. And you're like, all right, bro, this is all Zack's world. Like, there's no light any fucking where here, right? And then you give Patty Jenkins full control of 2, or whatever went behind the scenes, whatever. But I'm saying it wasn't under the cloud of Zack. And it was so fucking bright, rejuvenating. It was just so beautiful. Right. You give David Shazam. It's so bright. It's so beautiful. It's a newer aspect of that universe. So to me, all the people that are clamoring for him to come back, it's like, okay, if he comes back, fine. We can't control that. But you can't do both, right? You can't be the taste tester and the cooker, because it's very rarely you cook some shit and go, oh, that's nasty, right? So it's like you can't do both, right? So it's like if he comes back, he could do one or the other, not both. And I think that's the problem. Kevin Feige doesn't direct and write movies. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Zack never wanted to do more than his whatever he wanted to do. He wouldn't let, he was going to let other people do their thing. He was going to do his 5 movies and let him go. It was always finite with him. You know what I mean? So at this point, like looking back, you might as well just let him finish his fucking movies. It would have been done and over with a while ago. We wouldn't be in this mess.
Well, no, because Joel, you know how toxic that fan base is.
Yeah.
If you let him
be toxic,
maybe no,
they wouldn't be toxic.
I'm saying, Joel, if you let them finish their universe, let him finish his universe, right?
No,
and then
no,
that's what I'm saying. Then, if you let him finish it, and then he left, they still would have tried to find a reason for his ass to come back. They just won't let that shit. Bro, they got their 4-hour movie and they still aren't happy. There's nothing that would make them happy. Nothing.
I don't necessarily disagree.
At this point, Snyder fans are even worse than Star Wars fans at this point.
Yeah, it's not good right now. It's pretty bad. It really is bad. It's bad.
And I want to say this. We don't have a problem with Zack Snyder. Okay? I want to be very clear.
Man of Steel is my favorite DCEU movie.
Yes, and let me just be very clear on this. Let me speak for myself. My issue with the Snyder Cult is that you guys are becoming, and I thought this was impossible. You're becoming worse than fucking Cowboys fans. And I thought that was the pinnacle of just like, you guys just fucking suck. You wake up and you suck, right? And then it's like the Snyder Cult came and it's just like, you don't allow anything that's not Zach, right? And that's my issue. If you opened yourself up, like, okay, we got Zach here, we got this here, no problem. But you seem very close-minded that if Zach isn't touching it, fuck everything else. I remember when Star Wars said they didn't want to move forward with Zach. The whole Snyder Cut, fuck Star Wars. What? Like, maybe it was just a disagreement in a vision. It doesn't mean fuck Snyder or fuck Star Wars. It just didn't work out. But that's how toxic they tend to get. And again, we're not saying all Zack Snyder fans are toxic, but there's more toxic fans than there are not toxic fans.
The most vocal, the minority, the most vocal. That's how it is.
Right.
Look at the Oscars. Right. I mean, that was a joke.
Yes.
But
Joel feels very strongly about that.
That was very annoying. I was like, oh, really? What did you think was going to happen?
Yo, when Joel texted me, it was just like, you see this fucking shit? And it's just like, yeah, no, they're at it again, man.
It's a fan vote. You think they can't control a fan vote?
Yeah, come on. They strong arm Warner Brothers into making a 4-hour cut. Come on. Of course they can strong arm an Oscar.
But then the guy that actually like agreed to make it get fired because of it too. So
the 4-hour cut?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He's fired now. But,
yeah, it caused more problems than it solved.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can imagine.
What happened was they expected to be. They worked with them. They let it out. They expected the subscriptions to go up, and they didn't go up as much as they expected it to be. So it went up exactly where it was trending, and not instead of advancing it. And so I guess there was a lot of people that subscribed just for that, and then canceled, said "fuck you," and then they got fucked in the end because they're definitely not coming back now.
Right. But I think what also shafted them was you do that, right? And you end it open-ended. So now all the hardcore fans that wanted that are now like, well, I want more. And then if you're at the studios at Warner Brothers, you're like, I only wanted to just get this out. Like, just get this out, get my fan base up.
This out, yeah.
Right. And to the fans, they're like, no. More. And that's where it got fucked.
And 4 hours, it never would have been 4 hours if it came out in the theater.
No, of course not. No.
So it would have been an edited. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely some scenes that could definitely been cut.
For sure.
Some scenes. There's a lot.
You can nip and tuck the shit out of that one a little bit more. But it was a good movie. No doubt. It was definitely an entertaining movie.
Right.
But look, at the end of the day, biasly, I'm going to talk complete out of my own bias. Justice League would never be a complete Justice League without the Green Lantern. I don't give a fuck. You tried to squeeze him in at the end. He should have been there from the very beginning. That's just my opinion.
I'll go a step further. Justice League won't really be the Justice League till you get Cyborg's ass the fuck out of there. Get him the fuck out and bring in Green Lantern. Then we can talk about filling out a full 7. But no, I'm 100% with you. And we know, obviously, they're trepidations about Green Lantern. But what I think I love the most about this, and I'm with you, because it's all just talk till we see it play out, right? The reason why I didn't get excited or hyped or really any kind of big emotions from this is, to me, all this is possibilities, what we might do, what we want to do, right? That's all the talk is. I'm waiting for, this is what it is, right? When you can come out in fandom and tell your audience, this is what we're doing. This is one straight line. And we might have sometimes a line that goes this way, right? But it's not the same thing you're getting here. It's something else, right? So like, it's something drastically different than what you have. So to me, until we start to see it like done, to me, I've been a fan of the DCEU long enough to know, I remember a time where they were just announcing movies left and right. And out of that, we only got like 10 to 12 actual DCEU movies. So it's like, you announce a shit ton. We only got like 12 out of that actual.
The problem was, they were trying to do slates like Marvel was doing slates.
Right.
That slate, like a year later, looked nothing like it was supposed to.
Because I remember
it was great on paper, like we were saying earlier. But
I remember it went from Harley and Joker to Joker.
I never
now Birds of Prey.
Joker. What the? There was just some weird options out there. Harley and Joker, like out there. A lot of weird shit was being thrown across the table there.
I think in the board they were like, just pick random movies, pick random ideas, put them on the slate, and then we're going to announce those. And then
that's 100% true.
And they ended up doing a Joker solo. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's just like, oh, so you really didn't understand this when we say we didn't.
They made $1 billion. So
they won an Oscar. They won an Oscar.
But you know what? They shouldn't get away from doing their Elseworld type whatever. You know what? You want to do Red Sun? Do Red Sun. You want to do Kingdom Come? Do Kingdom Come. You know, be adventurous, but don't hold yourselves back. But also give us something that we can have some fluidity, some connectivity where we have our own shared universe.
That's my problem. That's why I said, to me, an Elseworld is something you have to earn. Because knowing that the DCEU is in a flux right now, right? So as soon as Ben left, what was the first thing we were ready to do? Put Robert Pattinson into the DCEU, right?
That's what it should have been. It should have been a replacement.
100%. But they were like, but they were like, no, we're not going to do that. So now I'm watching a Batman movie that I've always dreamt of, but now I'm seeing it's not connected to anything else.
But see, that Batman, like you were saying, shouldn't have been an Elseworld.
No, I 100% agree.
Because it's so exactly what we always wanted in a word that fits in exactly in the hole where it should fit. Yep. Yes, it's fine by itself, but it's Batman, classically Batman. It's not so far left. Like the Joker was very whatever, its own thing, its own enemy, its own. Obviously, it was in the 70s. It was a different time period. A whole bunch of things that just it lived in its own. Whereas the Batman can definitely live within its own.
To me, what I would prefer is I prefer Elseworld to be where like really rich. No. Well, yes, but we're really rich filmmakers, and I mean rich in the essence of art. Filmmakers are like, you know what? I've always wondered what a realistic take at Barry Allen would be. I want to make this Elseworld. Cool, no problem. But what you got to stop doing is allowing these artsy fartsy directors to come in and completely drastically change your characters. If they want to do that different, that's what Elseworld is for. Let them do that over there.
Get creative,
get creative over there in your corner, right? Go to your corner over there. But here, we need that jumbo to be cooked correctly, right? You got to put the right ingredients in.
Gumbo.
And it can't be a Flash that's super serious, and then you get a Green Lantern that's jokey. And then it's like, well, how is that gonna?
No, it feels backwards.
Yeah, right. Now, how is that gonna? You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's why I said an Elseworld should be something they shelf for now, right? Build your continuity, and then you can explain to people, look, I've given you 2 or 3 Superman movies, Robert Pattinson's Batman movies, I've given you Green Lantern movies, Wonder Woman, this, that. Now I want to do this with Wonder Woman over here. That's different. And the audience can understand it. But with your universe being in the flux and you adding all these characters in, because look, when Abrams' Superman comes out, you're going to have people like, was this connected? And we can't give them an answer.
That's the first thing they're going to ask.
Right. And we can't give them an answer because technically right now, we don't have a Superman. Right. So it's like, well, I can't tell you no. I can't tell you yes, but I can't definitively say, no way in hell they're using him. I don't fucking know. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, if you're Warner Brothers Discovery, sorry, I got to get used to that. The first thing you got to try to figure out is how to eliminate questions. Just eliminate questions. Like, get rid of all the questions, give us answers, and we'll be fine.
Right? Yeah, but for order them to do that, they need the answers themselves. And at this point, they don't got nothing. Especially with the merger happening too. So everything's still brand new.
Yeah.
So this right here, what you guys were talking about, action speaks louder than words. But for right now, they have to talk about what they're doing and then act on it. And that's going to take time in of itself. Because we still got other movies that are still in production.
Yes.
From the past past DC stuff. You still got Aquaman. You still got what's the? I can't remember all the movies, but
You got Flash, you got Aquaman, Black Adam,
yeah, exactly.
Blue Beetle, Batgirl,
Shazam
too.
Mhm.
Yeah. But no, look, and I like the last part of this paragraph here. All in an effort to have the desperate elements more closely aligned in order to maximize the value of superhero stable, one often seen as a punching up against Marvel. Now, where DC has an amazing advantage is, right? You have three faces in your universe that literally every walking human being recognizes.
3 pillars of comic book characters right there.
100%. So if you're DC, where you can make your bread and butter is not with the recognizable characters. It's with the unrecognizable characters that a whole new audience can grow with, right? Because there are people that have never heard of the Guardians, but now they've grown with the movies. They now had the cartoon, the game. They've grown with it. They know the Guardians now, right? They don't give a fuck about the old comics back in the day. They've grown with what the cinematic universe has instituted, right? So I'm like, if you're Warner Brothers, dive into that, and go crazy and have fun. Do Plastic Man. You're doing Blue Beetle. Do Booster Gold, right? Like, just go really crazy with these characters that people don't know about and just have fun with it, because the expectations won't be as high as if you come in trying to reboot a Wonder Woman or a Superman or a Batman or an Aquaman. And now it's like, well, you got to fucking hit. There is no room to fail, right? But if you do Plastic Man, you have the freedom to have fun. Because who the fuck really knows in just a regular walk of life about Plastic
Plastic Man
right?
fan base is not gonna go up.
My thought process is the opposite from yours. If anything, DC needs the money, so I will actually start off with the pillars first to grow that money up, and then
no. I didn't mean start off with those secondary or B or C characters. Okay. I just meant make it more exclusive, right? So you do your main 7, but make those other characters important. Like look how big Shang-Chi is. He's bigger today than he ever was, right?
Yeah, no one knew.
And that's just one movie, AJ. He just had one movie, and people are like, "Well, I want more of that."
But it was great. But it's big. Why? Because of the brand. Marvel's a brand.
For sure.
They bring out a movie, even the movie's ass at this point. It's gonna make money because it's Marvel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But DC's not there yet. So even their big wigs at this point might struggle because they don't have the same respect, and they need to gain that respect back because they're a fucking great company with great characters. And those characters deserve it for sure.
Yeah, and that's
I can argue even better than Marvel characters. So
some of them 100% are.
Yes, 100%. I'd start with the pillar 3. I'd start there,
and the pillars that should be the Justice League.
Right. So to me, I kind of feel like you just did the Batman. You have great press on that. Not no bigwigs are coming out saying that was a horrible movie. Why did you do this? Everyone loves it, right? It has great success. So where the struggle will come is that you're not following that up with a Superman, right? You're not even following that shit up with another Wonder Woman movie, right? So now it's just like, okay, if we go by your model, AJ, of leading with the big wigs, right? Gain back, like you said, Joel, that popularity, that trust. You got to be consistent here. So you're sprinkling in, like I just said, your B, C, D characters in between the fact that we just want to know what our 7 is. Give me the 7, then you can give me any fucking thing you want to give us. Anything you want to give us. Right? So it's like Feige built the Avengers, then gave us everything else. But it wouldn't have worked if in between Iron Man and Incredible Hulk was Shang-Chi. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
That would have been really weird, right? So you got to build up your universe, your main team, your faces. You build them, then your audience is like, look, you got me. I'm at the table. Whatever you bring to the table, I'm going to eat that shit. I'm hungry for more. But when you just start throwing things and the audience is like, well, does that matter? No. Okay, but does that matter? No. Does that one? It does? Okay, that one.
It's funny. No. People want to hear that it don't matter so they can watch it anyway, but then the part of them that's like, I wish it was.
100%.
So there's a reason to watch
100%. But Joel, I say this all the time, bro. Because me and you, AJ, I'm not sure how you feel exactly, but I know me and Joel talk about this ad nauseum. To say continuity doesn't matter will never make sense to me. It's the equivalent of like playing a game, right? Like, could you picture playing Uncharted 1 and then Uncharted 2 is drastically different than 1? It's not even Nathan anymore. It's someone completely new. You're like, well, wait a minute, hold on. What? There wasn't even like a closing here. What is this? And you're like, oh, no, we wanted to do something else. It's not connected. You go, what the fuck kind of gaming is this? Like, where's the long story here? No, we just do it a game at a time.
Look at the Fast series. They did their first 2 movies, and then there wasn't exactly the same. And then the third one, when they completely, no one was there.
Right.
You know, even though I enjoyed the movie, you didn't recognize it. But look, They came back, and look at it now. It's on 10.
And time out, Joel. Be more specific.
Juan.
Time out. Be more specific. How excited were fans, even people that didn't necessarily like Tokyo Drift? How excited were they to see that end credit scene of Vin Diesel pull up? Yeah. You're like, fuck yes.
That was cool.
All right, okay.
That was awesome.
That's my point. So to me, it's like I know the 3 of our generations, right? Because we're all within the same age, but just small gaps. We've all grown up with cartoons with a continuity.
Yeah.
Batman the animated series, right? Then the animated series of Batman where it was Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl. And then we saw that motherfucker go to Batman Beyond. That's one long continuity.
That's what. And that was all connected to the Justice League, which connected to Static Shock.
Exactly. So I'm like, you guys didn't grow up on non-continuity enough to be saying continuity don't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my biggest issue. So I do appreciate the concept of what they're saying of like, yes, we want to build things to where it's all connected. You know what I'm saying? To where if Superman, because Joel, we talked about it for the longest. You do a detective story for Martian Manhunter, and then at the end, Batman comes out of the shadows and goes, I've been watching you this whole time. Who are like just visually planning that in your head and seeing it is like, fuck yes, who doesn't want to see that? Now think about if it's not connected. You'll never get that. Who wants that? Who wants a world of that? I don't.
Some people do. There's a lot of people, maybe not a lot, but there are definitely people that would like to see them all be separated and not connected. And I don't want to live in that world. I lived in that world.
Yeah, but you also had the argument of, this has been a long argument, but the argument that, where's Superman within Batman, or where's Iron Man with Captain America? It'll just build that argument back up, which is stupid. So
exactly. I mean, no one questions it in the comic books.
Not at all, ever. But also,
don't have fucking Gotham be right next to Metropolis, and we won't have these questions.
Yo, but Joel, that's my biggest issue is when people are like, well, wait a minute, hold on. If the X-Men are in upstate New York, you got the Fantastic Four in New York.
You got all in the same city.
Right. Mostly, but here's my issue with that, Joel. They usually carve out territories with these characters, right? So it's not like Spider-Man covers the entire state of New York, right? I'm not saying he sticks to one part, but he doesn't cover the entire fucking state. So it's very plausible.
He takes place of Manhattan.
So it's very plausible that Spider-Man's handling something here. Fantastic Four are handling something here. Luke Cage is handling something here. They're not all in the same fucking neighborhood just going, hey, why didn't you help me yesterday? You were right there. No, that's not, no. You're very close-minded to think that.
Also, people think that they take breaks in between days. There's no breaks for criminals.
Clock in, clock out, people.
Yes, the criminals do not go, oh shit, is today Saturday? Nah, I can't work today. I'm gonna take today off. Yeah.
I'm at a barbecue. Can someone
I'm at a barbecue. Somebody else can do this.
Can we postpone this robbery till tomorrow?
Yeah, let's postpone this. All right, let's see what we got here in the comments section. He can't be in full control, just sprinkled in. I honestly think you guys need to just see what a universe looks like without your Lord and Savior. Let's just see what it looks like, and then if you want to bring him in later on,
Lord
cool.
And Savior.
Cool. But let's
the universe he's building in Netflix. Like I'm
right.
really looking forward to Rebel Moon. That looks dope.
And listener Jim, I don't mean you, because you are probably the only diehard Snyder fan that is rational. So I do not mean you when I say that. Mr. E says yes to everyone. Replace Cyborg with Martian Manhunter. 1,000%, 1,000%, and 1,000%.
And look, I remember for years, like, I don't mind replacing the Martian Manhunter if you bring in a character. It makes sense. And look, as much as I love the idea of Cyborg in the comic books at the time, I didn't like them taking him away from Titans. And to me, it's paid. I mean, we've had to pay for that because now in continuity, they put him in the Justice League and they've literally taken him out of the Titans because when they brought in Titans live action, he's not in Titans live action, but he's Doom Patrol.
Right, I wouldn't mind if Iron Man was not Iron Man, Jesus Christ. Cyborg, if Cyborg was in the Justice League. But first, at least put him in Titans for like 2 or 3 movies first, and then give him a promotion, basically.
Absolutely. And you know what?
That would have made more sense.
Even in the comic books, the Titans already should have been Justice League members at some point.
Yeah.
So that's on them too. They should have all been upgraded to Justice. And look, and Marvel has done a great job of integrating everybody into the Avengers, even the sidekicks. You know, they don't have sidekicks, but partners, which I appreciate. And DC could do the same thing. You know.
I just still think it's redundant. Cyborg and Batman being on the same team, something there has to.
I mean, there is a difference, but yes, I do believe they kind of took up similar space. But
Mr. E says, "I'm still waiting for that Nightwing movie. Hold your breath, or don't hold your breath. Don't hold. It
looks like we might not get that one. So
yeah, I can definitely tell you the original rumor you heard of that Nightwing movie. Don't hold your breath. I think all this stuff
I think all this stuff that's being written now, like the screenplays and all, I don't think they're gonna be in the near future anymore, especially with these changes. I think that it's gonna be cut off the slate. So Wonder Twins might not happen. Blue Beetle already started filming, right?
I mean, they're super casted at this point.
Yeah,
they
cast it down. Yeah, but I do want to say this. I don't think when you say you want to do an overhaul, unless you're telling me you're completely rebooting, don't start canceling shit. Because to me, I'm like, well, if you're going to cancel shit, let's just start completely anew. And if that's not what you want to do, then don't cancel shit. Let shit continue to go. Just find a better way to better thread everything
to where it all connects. Cancel everything. To me, you have to just slowly just retcon. You know what I mean? Slowly retcon.
And you have to. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, they could do it with the Flash if they work it correctly.
Right.
But we don't know what the plans were, and they might change now that they got these guys saying that. Look, what are you doing with Superman? We don't really know.
No, not even that, Joel. Not even that. Look, not even that. It's more so just like, well, we wanted to try this Supergirl, and I'm sure this guy's like, well, wait a minute. Is there a reason you can't do both? And it's like, well, it's redundant. Well, no, not really. He could have his movie. She could have her movie. Then you could maybe team them up. But it's no more redundant than it is Batman having a Robin. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like...
Or a whole core of Green Lanterns.
Yes, exactly. And you know, it's funny because like a lot of people go, well, she's strong and he's strong. What's the difference? Well, here's what you do. You just give yourself a villain that's so strong, one of them can't handle it alone. You need both of them, right?
Just
so it's like, there you go, right
writers, and let them worry about
it. Right, exactly. You stop worrying about it as a studio. Let your writers worry about that. Green Lantern Corps 2, they all disappeared. Yeah. They didn't disappear. They were forced out. Marvel's success forced DC to press for Marvel-type numbers. Again, I'm just never of the mindset that Marvel put DC in a chokehold. I think DC never had a clear plan. And it was really exposed when you got a few movies in and you were just like, I don't think you know what you're doing. Like you introduce most, if not your entire Justice League in one movie, but none of them really had standout scenes really. And then you gave us Justice League. It's like, I don't even know who the fuck this is. And you're just like,
I mean, without having to explain how they even knew about how they were introduced in BVS,
how they got logos, like just so many questions. They had their own logos.
Yeah, they had logos. They even had the initial. I think the initials had the superhero name. Like, are they named yet? I'm confused.
Yeah, they were naming them, and I'm like, bro, that was a perfect chance for you just to be calling Barry the Blur or something.
It's funny
like
is
that.
because I'm sitting there watching the movie, and I was enjoying the movie, but there was just certain moments where you're like, what, why?
Yeah, who wrote this? Why were these decisions made? So yeah, I'm very much in the mindset of I don't think Marvel forced anything. Just like when people say like, oh, because of Marvel, everyone's doing continuity. Bitch, Transformers is a continuity. Marvel didn't start no shit with that. It's all one thing. There wasn't a separate Optimus here and then a Megatron over there. It was all in one world. That's continuity. I think people get confused on what that term means because Feige did not invent it. Cartoons and comic books were created well before the MCU started, and that was continuity.
What?
And people just get
Continental
confused
breakfast? Is that what you said?
Yeah, people are like, I'm so confused. You're telling me the MCU didn't start continuity?
It popular. The reason why is because it popularized it. That's why.
It did.
I mean, that's fair, but AJ, you want to know something funny?
That was impossible.
You want to know something funny, AJ? You ready for this? You had 3 fucking Star Wars movies. That's a fucking continuity.
Not
you
wrong.
had 2 back-to-back Batman movies with Keaton. That's a fucking continuity. So that's why when people are like, oh, he popularized. It's been around for fucking forever.
That's what sequels are.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. One mainstream story that goes
building
past.
the way Marvel has done it is new.
Yes.
They've been the only one to do it as successfully as they have.
Yes. I will give that. Yes.
It's different. It's very different what they've done. But
the term would be, Joel, he reinvented the wheel. These motherfuckers believe he created the wheel.
They most definitely reinvented it. Yeah.
Like they're just like, oh my God, he created Earth. And it's like, relax, people.
Go back to that first quote. I want to look at it again.
Yeah, go ahead, and then I'll get back into the comments.
The one that you pointed out originally, the one with Superman. That one, yeah.
This one.
Yes, that one. Yes, that one. That was my favorite. When I read, it's funny because I read it, I highlighted it, I posted it, and as soon as I blinked, and that's what the article. I mean, the next post from Kanan was the same thing. I was like, all right, well, he saw it too. Because I tried to read the whole article as fast as I could. Because I was like, I'm very intrigued what they were talking about. But I'm like, what are they saying? And this was my favorite one. Like, Discovery insiders believe that although DC has achieved cinematic success with recent films such as Aquaman, which made $1 billion. The Batman made what 700 something now, 800.
Around 800 now, I think.
800 something now. Look beautiful. How much did Wonder Woman make? The first one. Did that make $1 billion too, or close?
Yeah, I think it made close to $1 billion. Yeah,
close. So like they made bank, and obviously Joker made bank. It lacks coherent, creative, and brand strategy. Because yes, as you know, Aquaman and Batman are not in the same universe. Neither was Joker, and that's fine. Look, I'm totally fine with that. But Discovery believes that several top-shelf characters, such as Superman, have been left to languish. The fact that they said that, it's like they knew that's what the fans have been screaming for. It's like Discovery believes that several top characters, such as Superman, have been left to languish and need to be revitalized. You know, that's like so many people are just talking about that specific sentence because it's like that's all we wanted to hear people acknowledge. Just acknowledge the fact that you are leaving him out almost of the entire job. For what reason? Because of multiverse.
They don't like money.
Plus they don't like multiverse. He's on TV. What you said wasn't a problem before, but now it's a problem.
Right.
Batman's on TV.
Look,
Batman's everywhere. Where is Batman not?
I'll say this, Joel. What I did like about this, because I conjured this up in my head, was that when they were acquiring Warner, right?
Yeah.
They whoever's at the head of Discovery definitely was just like, okay, all right, the Batman, great, Aquaman, awesome, Wonder Woman, okay, and then he's like, something feels like it's missing. Where's your Superman? And they're like, oh, we just left that in the basement. We don't.
Literally your number one comic character of all time.
We laid him down in the basement. He doesn't come out of the basement. And they're like, okay, so when I buy you, you're fired. Second, we're getting him out of the basement. Okay.
Not even a basement. Because you get stuff out of the basement. It's the attic. You don't care about that.
There you go. So I just giggled, Joel, because in my mind, I'm like, when they were acquiring it, they were looking over like, you know, like anytime you watch a show and like an accountant looks over someone's like spending habits, and they're like, "What the fuck were you doing here,
Well,
here, and here?"
I have to
That's
imagine
100%.
that they looked at the slate of what's coming up. They saw what the future held, and they saw, oh, we're starting over without Superman. Like
They're like, I'm really confused.
Is he not
here.
one of the biggest characters in your roster, and you're leaving him out? Like, what doesn't make any sense?
Right. And mainly because it's like Warner Brothers at the time was picking and choosing because they were like, well, we need a Batman. Well, that's fucking clear. And it's like, well, if you need a Batman, you have to feel the same about Superman, right? It should not be.
If you can't figure out how to use them, that's on y'all. All right.
But here's my biggest problem. I felt as though every time they used them, I loved it. So to me, it was like, what did you think didn't work? I don't understand. We're like anyone who talks bad about BVS, it's more so the movie. No one goes, well, if this movie didn't have Superman in it, it would have been so much better. No one says that.
If anything, he was the best part of it. One of the best parts. Yeah.
Okay, I was about to say. Yeah,
one of the best parts.
I was about to say. I was about to slap your lips, AJ. Hold on. Only best part? All right, let's see what Mr. E. Listener Jim says casting will make or break this. No, and we also have to get that out. Are we just not paying attention to the fact that the MCU is riddled with people we've never fucking seen before? Like all your major characters that are in the MCU, outside of maybe 10, right? Maybe 10. I think that's a little high. Are actors that are new. They're new. So casting does not matter. Casting only matters to Sony. That is it. Sony is the only place that they're just like casting over script. Every time. Every fucking time.
Like Sony's very behind. Because they're like, remember the 90s?
I swear to God, that's their motto.
That is their motto. I'm telling you right now, the studio exec, when they say, hey, can you bring the Venom team to my office? And you see the writers walking in and like, whoa, what are you doing in here? Like, I thought you wanted to see everyone. No. Where's the casting director? Bring them in, and you just go for an early lunch. I don't need you. But no. So, listener Jim, to me, casting never matters because if the story is good enough and the actor can actually do their job,
the IP should be able to carry it.
Yeah,
100%. Mainly because if we're being honest, right? If you give me a Hulk movie, right? Let's be real here. I'm going into a Hulk movie to see that motherfucker destroy cars, tanks, whoever he's fighting, right? I don't need Leonardo DiCaprio to pull that off, right? No. So it's like I'm here for Hulk. I'm not really here for anything else, right? Yeah. Now, I'm not saying you can make a shit story. I'm just saying I don't need to leave the Incredible Hulk going, bro, this should be fucking nominated. God damn, the script was just, did Martin Scorsese write this? No, I don't need that. Just be visually pleasing in a script that doesn't make me want to throw up. That's really all you got to do. Balance that. That's it. That's really it. I think a lot of times people forget we read comics, right? So it's like you needed it to be visually pleasing, but you also needed a good story because it doesn't come to life without it. But in a movie, you're just seeing it play out. So the script can be good, doesn't have to always be great. Now, if it is both, bravo.
You prefer both, but
yes,
you can get away.
Doesn't have to be. Right. All right. Let's see what Mr. E's saying. Here's my idea: make a concrete universe. Let Matt Reeves' Batman universe be established as a separate Earth. Let Black Adam serve as Earth 2. It already has the Justice Society 2. I'd love to see a Justice Society movie before a Justice League. It just feels right, you know. And please set up a milestone cinematic universe. They are doing good. They're doing good with a Static Shock movie. Let's keep the momentum going. Okay, now you can respond, Joel. I just wanted to get that all out.
That sounds. Go ahead, AJ. That sounds a bit too much. If any, this sounds like too many Earths to focus on. You're talking about Earth 2, and then you have the main Earth, and then you have milestone.
Time out. To Mr. E's defense, we're already in 3 different Earths, right?
Yeah, but we're trying to help simplify the DC. We don't want to.
I don't disagree.
Complicated.
I don't disagree. But if what he's saying is you add certain characters to Earths that already exist, if they want to stay in the the continuity they're building for these other Earths, you could do that. But I'd also love to see if they did. I'm not saying I want them to. if they scrapped the DCEU and started over, I'm with Mr. E. I would not be against starting with the JSA, right? Starting with that and then going present day where you're seeing your Batman solo, your Superman solo, and then you're building the Justice League. But like in that world, they know that heroes came before them, right? Like it's the legends of the heroes that came before them. I would have no fucking issue with that whatsoever. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I need that to happen, but I wouldn't hate it. Go ahead, Joel.
It complicates things. Like, we don't know everything about what's going on in Black Adam and the JSA yet. We don't know a world that technically exists, and though we've already heard rumors that Peacemaker may have a connection to it, so it's already considered part of the DCU in that way, if that's the case, right? So the JSA are characters that I would love to see fleshed out more going forward, have their own movie. Would love that. But I prefer it stayed within the same universe, so we don't get too happy giving everyone their own Earth. You know what I mean? This, that. I like the way AJ was saying. It just gets complicated, and that's why Crisis happened. You understand? To clean that shit up, because it gets complicated.
Yeah.
Mr. E says that's pretty much DC Comics universe. But here's the thing, Mr. E, right? The movies and TV shows, they adhere to a larger audience who does not read comics, have not read comics, right? So when you read a comic, it's very clear this is this issue, right? Now here's another issue. Then there's another issue. You can keep track with that. But if you're asking a fan who saw Joker Monday, right? Who saw Jared Leto's Joker Monday, and then Tuesday, it's a whole nother fucking Joker. To them, they can't really rationalize what just happened. To them, Joker just got replaced, right? So in movie and in TV shows, it's a lot harder to convey that than a book where you can go, okay, this is issue 1. I literally see the number here. That's issue 2. It's easier there. In movies, especially with Warner Brothers, who does not speak ever to clarify anything, you're very much, if you don't know, sitting there like, all right, so I'm just waiting for Phoenix's Joker to fight Batman. And it's like, oh, no, I'm sorry, sweetheart.
Were you not
Bruce is only 10 years old. Yeah, Bruce
right.
is only 10 years
old.
Also
the fact that society now has a short attention span.
Oh, yeah.
And movies nowadays are like, what, 2 years apart now? Like between movies? Right. And with comic books, it's at least a month-by-month basis or by week basis. So you have a shorter time span to actually get invested with those characters, whereas in movies, it's a longer time period. And nowadays people would just go on to something else. So it's a lot.
Yeah.
No, it's true. That's why what Marvel did is fucking fantastic. It's so crazy.
It's expansive.
It's very expansive. And look, and like they made movies like TV shows. Like you don't have to watch everything, but you kind of have to watch everything. You know what I mean? Awesome.
I'll say this. You have to watch everything if you care. If you don't care, then just watch whatever you want to watch. But then people want
to care. You know, there are people that don't like. My sister talks to me all the time about wanting like this movie, that movie. I'm like, just sit down and watch all of it. Now it's overwhelming.
Right.
But I'm like, it'll be worth it if you just sit down and stop like pick and choosing where you want to watch shit. It's much easier if you just sit there and watch it. Now, some people are willing to dedicate themselves to it. Some aren't. That's on them. Whatever, do what you want to do. But it's so much more fulfilling once everything connects. It's the funnest thing in the world. But you got to get there, and it takes time if you haven't. Look, how many years has it been? 2008.
Yeah.
So, it's been a long time. But that's awesome. That's incredible.
But the thing is, the people that want to catch up or even know, it's easy to catch up with Marvel because all you have to do is just watch at least one movie a week.
Right.
Now, we did not talk about this, and this is important to me. To me only, this is important. But it says here one of the candidates that they were looking at was Emma Watts, a former top film executive at 20th Century Studios and Paramount. I will say this. If I'm hiring, I couldn't possibly find a worse resume to give me than to tell me, hey, I could oversee your universe because I was overseeing the Transformers, I was overseeing fucking the X-Men movies, and it's like, that doesn't sound good. Like that doesn't sound good at all. So to me, when I saw that, I was just like, I don't think you're setting yourself up for gold here. That sounds something.
My Robot.
Yikes.
Tooth Fairy. We got some good ones here, guys.
Yeah, she don't have much under her belt anyway.
Oh, well then you know what? I take back everything I said.
She was a producer. She's not, yeah. And none of these were connected anyway.
Right. No, I just thought because it just said 20th century in Paramount. Like, so I was thinking she's been part of it for
she was just a
for
film
a while.
executive, but she didn't oversee them.
Got you. I was about to say, hell no, I'm throwing your applications in the garbage. Take that shit away from me. What the fuck? Come on now. But no, look, I'm very excited for what the future can be. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Joe.
They want to hire someone with more of a business background than a creative one. I get that, but you need the thing with if you want a Kevin Feige, you need someone that actually has love for DC. You know what I mean?
But I think sometimes that gets over. I think sometimes that gets over. No. I'm trying to think of the right word. But anyway, what I'm trying to convey is, I think Kevin Feige is really only the creative mind. I don't think he handles the business aspect of it.
He's in charge of everything in Marvel now. He has Marvel Comics under his belt.
You're 100% right. But I think what he wants to focus on is just the creativeness of it. I think the business aspect of it is where you have the uppers in Disney that handles. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm like, if you're getting someone that's good at business, they're going to chart to what makes the most money. What makes the most money isn't always what's best for the universe, is what I'm trying to say. So that's why I think Feige, you always hear creative.
Smart.
Or if you do have that creativity, because if you're telling me Feige does both, I'd tell you I value the creativity way more than the business acumen of Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
Creativity is what matters.
But that's what you want, right? You want someone that knows the character.
Yeah. Ultimately, you need both.
You definitely need both.
But see, that's why I told you guys when everyone remember AJ, me and you were talking about it when everyone wanted to fire what's her name from Star Wars,
Kathleen Kennedy.
Yes, and I said I would never do that if I'm Disney. Here's why: she was able to cultivate that Solo movie to make money, right? Even though it was not critically acclaimed, it made money in between Spider-Man and fucking Deadpool. That woman knows her fucking business. Don't ever question Kathleen Kennedy on business. Now, where Kathleen fucks up 10 times out of 10, she does not have the creativity of expanding a universe, which is why I said you let Dave Filoni be creative, you let Kathleen do money, and Star Wars will be right back where it needs to be, both movies and TV. That's what I'm saying. But to fire Kathleen when she's making great business decisions, she just maybe shouldn't have her hands in everything. No, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying.
That was just some bad decision making out, especially when handling the new movies.
Right.
She made some bad decisions. Mainly
100%.
No real connectivity between the movies was a bad idea.
Right.
Period. There was no mapped out idea of where they wanted to go. They would just make a movie, and that's not how shit works these days, you know?
Right. And everyone kept saying, like, oh no, Kathleen Kennedy is very creative. She worked underneath George Lucas for all those years. And I'm like, well, that doesn't mean it rubbed off. That just means she worked alongside her. That's like saying my dad was Michael Jordan, so like I have to be able to drop 50 a day. No, that's not what that means at all. It means he had it. You just watched him do it. Like, no, that's not what that means. So to me, I think you need both. I think Feige is a rarity. He could do two things in one body. That's rare. Don't try to do that. Don't find one person. Find two people that mesh into one person.
Yeah. Well, they've done
the best
that.
Of both worlds.
They've done that before with
Well, they tried.
What's his name? Isn't here.
If you're talking about Jeff Johns, they never. No, Jeff Johns said they never really gave him the keys. It was more so like, all right, you could go start the car, but don't drive it. Like he was more so like, okay, I could set the table, but then they tell me to leave. Like I can't sit down and eat with them. So he was saying he never really felt like he had a full grasp, he had full control on the universe. It was more so just like, well, what should we do, Jeff? I don't really want to do that. So that's why he stepped down. He stepped down. Remember, he didn't get fired. He stepped down.
He became a producer instead.
Exactly. So Jeff Johns, anything Warner Brothers did is not a good example of anything. So just get somebody that's really passionate about the universe, and then someone that just knows their numbers, and you'll be fine. You'll be 100% fine. That's all I'm saying. That's all you need to do. That's it.
Yeah. You need the right team. You need to assemble the right team, not just not the head. You need a head that it's like almost like having a head coach, you know, and you have your assistant coaches.
Right.
You need the right team around you too.
But Joel,
by yourself.
I've been
by himself.
Right, but I've been saying this for years, as long as I've known you, that I did not think Warner Brothers needed one person. I've always said, there was a time, Joel, I told you earlier on in the DCEU that I said I think it should go director by director, right? So instead of just planning this big ass slate, you focus one movie at a time. All right, Zach's doing Man of Steel, right? That's completely out. It did its numbers. All right, what's the next piece of that puzzle? All right, we want to do the Batman. Cool, let's do that. Just do it that way.
You can't do it that way. Not now.
No. I'm not saying now. I'm saying that's what I was saying back in earlier in the DCEU, like when it was starting. Like you should have just slowed it down like that. Because look, the people are used to you never connecting it. So you didn't have to rush. They're used to you never correcting these movies.
As soon as they said Batman was going to be in that Superman, we were like, well, that changes everything.
100%. And the way they announced it was one of the greatest ways to announce anything.
That was so awesome.
Like, because I believe I had just seen that Batman animated movie where that line was obviously it was from the comics, but I just watched that animated movie. Batman Returns, right? Yeah, it was Batman Returns. The Dark Knight Returns. Dark Knight Returns. I had just watched it, so when Henry Lennox was saying it, I was like, oh, I fucking know what he's saying. No fucking way. And then you see the title screen and you're like, okay. All right. It is Joel is my witness. I jumped out on a ledge. I said BVS would be better than Civil War. I said it would blow it out of the water. Oh, God.
I said a lot of things.
I said a lot of things that y'all regret.
Well, bro, it should have never flopped. That's 100%. How good that movie should have been. The best fucking movie.
Well, their first mistake was Doomsday, so.
But
I don't even. Oh, you mean visually or just using him at all?
Using him at all.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with using him at all. I had a problem with the story arc you chose to use, and then visually, like. Again, if you did not hear the name, you would have had no idea who the fuck that was. Like I thought I was watching Lord of the Rings like 8 different times in that movie. Like, what is this? Like, what am I watching? Where's Gandalf? So that was my biggest issue. But using him in that premise, because like Joel said, Zach never had a 30+ movie universe planned out. He had like 5 movies planned out, and that was it. So I'm like, you bringing in Doomsday this early? God damn. Like Superman just became a hero, and you're already like, "Here's Doomsday."
Yeah, we gotta kill him.
Like,
why
in
now?
his second movie?
Why are we doing? Why are we doing Dark Knight Returns now?
Why is Batman 50? Like,
honestly, at the time when it was announced and I was seeing everything, I didn't give a fuck. Let me see. And then then it all played out, and you're like, I didn't make sense, but I enjoyed watching.
Right. Shout out to All in the Game. He says Jeff Johns' movie resume prior to the DCEU was basically as a producer on the Green Lantern movie. That's not the resume for a head of a cinematic universe or a head of an entire cinematic universe.
Serious? Whoa.
All in the Game. He was saying Jeff Johns' movie resume prior to the DCEU basically was as a producer on the Green Lantern movie. That's not the resume for the head of a cinematic universe or the head of a entire cinematic universe.
That is not a good reason at all.
Well, my issue
much shade on that movie at all.
Well, yes, but the reason why I disagree with that is Jeff Johns was writing comic books, so it's like, well,
he was not. He was barely. Why wouldn't you? Even barely a producer at that point.
No. I get what he's saying about not jumping into making him like the head of something coming off of that. But creativity-wise, the man was writing comic books. Those are usually the people I do want in those creative spaces.
But not as head. As a creative speaker, sure, but as head of an entire
Who else
universe?
was part of that fucking movie? Greg Berlanti. He created a whole DC universe on CW.
Right. And Greg Berlanti's created a whole universe
And more
outside of that.
effectively, more effectively than the movies have. I don't care how the quality is. He does what he can with the money he got. But he created a whole world on that side. A whole world.
Sure did. And I tell you what, the only questions that come out of the CW is whether or not they're good. It's never like, where does this take place? Where does that take place? Yeah. It's one straight line. You like it or you don't.
That's one thing.
But it's cohesive. It's cohesive. That shit is cohesive. So again, I don't blame Jeff Johns. I'm just saying he was never given the proper chance to do what he wanted to do, which is why he stepped down.
More power later on.
Like as a producer,
when they were trying to fix it, and once it got broken and was unfixable, they threw him and everyone else under the rug.
100%. 100%.
I can't fix it. Well, what am I supposed to do? I'm in the middle of it.
Like different mediums, different skill sets. Well, no, not at all. If you write comics and you have he did the New 52. So I'm like, if you did the New 52, which, as we see, it has a huge impact on comics and DC animation and stuff. I'm like, the guy has the mind for it, but I don't think the mind for it. Right. I don't think he was given a fair enough shot. You know what I'm saying?
I think I'm with them on this though, because you can have the mind for it and all, but the execution is everything. So my thing is, you need someone to help organize those thoughts. Well, with comic book writers, I think it's harder because you have so much stuff in your mind that you just want to bring it all out. And that's one of the issues.
So my point to that is, if you're speaking generally, no arguments. I'm saying specifically Jeff Johns was not given a proper opportunity to do it the right way. Okay? He was given the keys when they were in the middle of chaos. And they were like, fix this shit. It was like, well, I like, are you going to give me full control to fix this shit? No, not really. Again, I think it means a lot that he stepped down. He was not fired.
And at
so
that
clearly
point,
it wasn't going his way.
At that point, it's the head of the business that was the issue. Now they're no longer the head.
That's what was
100%. Right. 100%. And again, if you feel as though all in the game, if you feel as though Jeff Johns isn't the guy for the job, I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying, if he was given a Kevin Feige opportunity to run the DCEU and failed, I'm with you. I'm with you. No argument here. He was just never fully given that opportunity.
I think a lot of people.
He was fighting a losing battle, basically.
100%.
Oh, yeah,
100%. Yeah. 100%.
But a lot of them were. Zack Snyder was the losing battle. The cast of the Justice League was fighting a losing battle. It was just everyone trying to survive. It was a really toxic situation. No one was going to win that fight. The movie was shit for a reason. You had Joss Whedon in there. At the time, we didn't know what half the shit that we know now about Joss Whedon. You know what I mean? You know, he was like, he's the Avengers fucking director. Like, oh, great. You know,
right. And again, all in the game. I'm not arguing that. But the difference is Feige is a diehard comic book fan, right? All I'm saying is someone with passion of either being a writer or a diehard fan that you know is truly passionate. Those are the guys you want to structure your universe. Whatever position that might be is the ones you want to do it. Because again, if you go from a business standpoint, we'll be in the same situation Warner Brothers has had us in since like the fucking 60s. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. We don't want that. We want you to expand your universe, right? And if you just go by the numbers, look at the new Star Wars trilogy that we got. A lot of people feel as though they were just regurgitating the original 3 movies, right? With a newer spin, right? So that's what you have when you have someone that's just a figurehead and they're like, well, I know that made money, so how can we incorporate that into this? And that's
also another good example is Star Wars again, but with their TV shows.
Right.
Kathleen Kennedy's not really hands-on with the creative side of it. It's more Dave Filoni and yeah.
Right. But let me just say this all in the game. We're not we are not campaigning for Jeff Johns to be the head of anything. We're just saying we don't blame. Right. We're just saying we don't blame anything on Jeff Johns. That's all we're saying. We're not comparing him to Berlanti. We're not comparing him to Kevin. We're just saying that if he was given a proper opportunity, we think he could have did a good job. That's all we're saying.
I think Greg Berlanti should be the one that head of DC films or just DC property in general.
He definitely should get looked at because I mean that guy.
Look, I always say I don't like the CW stuff, but Jawan, you're right. The continuity within the CW universe is good.
Bro, AJ, I cannot lie to you, bro. There are very few moments that I like have outer body experiences, and I'll never fucking forget watching season 2 of Arrow, and fucking Barry Allen shows up. Like, what the fuck? That's crazy. Like, what? Barry Allen? Are you about to do the Flash? Like, so to me, again, Berlanti and his mindset. Berlanti did You. He's the producer behind You. Like, he's a producer behind so much shit we don't even know. Flight Attendant.
He's a great producer.
He's an amazing producer. Yeah. So I'm with you all in the game of those two are in a class of their own. I'm with you. I'm just saying that if I'm going to blame a guy, he better have really had his hands on everything. And
you also
blame the head of Warner Brothers if you want to blame somebody.
Right. You can't throw Green Lantern at Jeff Johns' face if you're not going to throw it at Berlanti. You know what I mean? Same movie, bro.
Berlanti, Guggenheim. Like,
right. They're all attached to that.
There's a few people that could take some egg to the face for sure.
Yeah.
Berlanti should have been in charge. Having read up on him, Feige is actually much more of a movie fan than a comic book fan. Was a bigger Star Wars guy than a Marvel guy.
That's irrelevant.
That's not what I was saying. I was just saying the passion. He's not a numbers guy. That's what I'm saying. The passion. Yeah. You're really bogged down in us just mentioning Jeff Johns. Like, get out of that. Like, we're not trying to say Jeff Johns is better than anybody. We're not saying that.
You want to hate him? Go ahead, hate him. I don't hate him. Yeah, Stargirl's a great show.
I like a lot of the New 52. It gave me my Court of the Owl. So look, fuck it.
Look, you want to hate on him all you want, but Cyborg being part of the Justice League is Jeff Johns' fault, not Zack Snyder's. And then Zack decided to take it and use it.
Right. Because I believe those two were 100% in contact when that movie was.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there was something there. I'm like, why would you go with Cyborg? I don't know.
Diversity.
I hate when people say that because I'm like, bro, you could have just made Martian Manhunter when he's in human form black. You could have brought in John Stewart.
I mean, his so many other ways black, to go.
So there are like so many different places to
I always said bringing Green Lantern, he could have used John Stewart, and then and said if you didn't want to use the Martian Manhunter, you could have used. I always said Blue Beetle would have been a great idea, the Jaime version.
Yep.
If anything, John Stewart is more popular than Hal Jordan anyway. So
especially these days,
modern day,
because of the cartoon,
right?
You know? And because the movie flops, you know.
That didn't help things. But AJ, I'm about to send you these pictures. Bring these pictures up, and we're gonna talk about this before we get out of here. Ooh, excuse me. That was a nasty ass bird.
You send it to
I did not mean Twitter? No, I sent it to your text. You want me to send it to Twitter?
Hold on, I think I can get it up.
Okay. So I'm just very interested to seeing how this is reshaped because again, we've been saying the three of us have been saying this for forever. This is very fixable. You just got to either go all in or just go down with the ship, but it's very fixable.
Yeah. I always
send it to Twitter.
I got you. Go ahead, Joel.
I said, I always felt like anything could technically be fixed with the right moves. I even felt that about the X-Men movies, and they were all over the fucking place. I'm like, you let me take care of it. I can fix this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, those X-Men movies never tried to make sense ever. Like ever.
They didn't care about continuity. They're like, fuck it.
Look. If anybody wants the comic book stuff, just get the people that created the newest X-Men to help organize the X-Men stuff, and you'll be good to go.
The new X-Men shit is definitely creating this shit for future X-Men shit, for damn sure.
Yeah, but I will say, look, the reason why, and AJ, you remember last Friday or Friday before, I was yelling at Trayvon
Friday after next.
because because the point I was trying to make was, before we get into this, the point I was trying to make was those X-Men movies poisoned people who didn't read the comic, their mindset of what the X-Men are, right? Like, they believed that the X-Men couldn't exist without Wolverine. They believe he was the leader, right? They believe he was literally named X-Men. That was Wolverine's name. So like, there was a whole bunch of problems that came out of those original movies that was just like, this is problematic. You got to stop, right? But I want to read All in the Game's comment before we end it on these leaked suits. He's a brilliant comic writer, but not a movie producer. Just saying, you keep conflating the two skill sets. And yes, Jon Stewart should have been there ahead of Cyborg. I don't think I conflated the two skill sets. I think I was very clear in saying that I don't think one has to cancel out the other, is all I'm saying. Because we have seen it work.
It wasn't nobody was going to succeed in that position. I'm be fair.
Right. Like
well,
okay.
So Feige could be put in that position, and he wouldn't have succeeded.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been
100%. But yeah. I will say this, All in the Game, to your point, that if we're using an example of someone that can do it, that would not be the example we use. Would be Jeff Johns' time as the
it's not a good example.
He doesn't have enough.
I'll give you that.
He doesn't have enough experience through it. So
I'll give you that. I won't argue that. I'm just saying, I don't immediately go, you wrote a comic book, so you can't be the head of an entire universe. Like, no, I think that can be done. We just haven't seen it happen yet, but it could. Yeah. It could. But all right, so click on one of these, AJ. Let's get a better shot. All right, so these photos have leaked. I don't know. There's always, I think I appreciated it in Tim Burton's, but seeing it here, I don't know. Smirking Batman live action scares me a little bit. The way he's smirking right there. He's like, stop being so fucking happy.
He doesn't look like he's smirking at all. He
looks like he's smirking. Am I tripping? Yeah. I'm like, it's a smirk for sure. Now I told Joel before, I don't like or dislike this outfit. I just would have made changes. That's it. So it's not one of those like, oh my God, what the fuck is this? Or, oh my God, I've been waiting for this. No. I was saying AJ, because Joel's already, we've already talked about this, Joel, but I was just saying I would have liked, because obviously he's a much older Batman, right? I would have liked it that the cape did come around, all the way around. And I would have liked blue and gray. It
might still come all the way around. That's classically how it is. Like,
no, for sure. I'm just saying we've never seen him fully have it closed in the two movies we had.
We've seen both in the old movies.
Where he fully had it closed?
Fully, it's just that you see yes. You just don't see, you just see the logo.
Oh, well, okay. We're splitting hairs here, but we're saying the same thing. Okay.
No, because you can't cover the logo. You literally can't. It goes underneath the logo.
Right. No. I'm with you. That's why I said we're just splitting hairs at this point. We're saying the same thing. I'm with you. I get exactly what you're saying. But I would have liked the blue and gray design. I would have older Batman. I would have just liked it because I felt like that's probably the only place we're gonna get it. I
already showed you where you're gonna get it.
Wait, say it. No, you show me where we could have gotten it.
No, that's from the Flash movie.
Wait. Let me see again then. I'll send that to AJ.
No, that's also going to be in the Flash movie.
Oh, yes. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, Joel's talking about the set photos we got of Ben's Batman on the motorcycle. Okay. Yes, it is like darker blue with like hints of gray. Yeah. I just meant more so that Kevin Conroy Batman suit. That's the one that I thought I would have loved to have seen Michael Keaton's Batman utilize. Because you're damn sure ain't never gonna see that in Matt Reeves' Batman. that shit ain't never happening. I'm very curious to see if he remains to be devoid of color going forward. So I'm curious about that. But again, I don't hate it. AJ, I'll pass it to you. What are your thoughts on this leaked shot of Michael Keaton's Batman?
I'm with you. I don't hate it. don't really care for it. Really, it's nothing new, basically. So it's really not much for me to say about the design.
Right. I mean, the chest kind of looks like Bale's armor a little bit, from the Dark Knight.
Don't say that.
No. I just the
Now I
chest
feel
piece, not the whole suit.
I feel disrespected. Man.
Not the whole suit, just the armor look.
I feel like
He's
that.
like, how
Um,
dare
Pound
you?
shit you just did.
But yeah, I don't. Yeah, no, don't show that. That's way too dark. Get back to the light one. Yeah, get back to the light
Yeah,
one.
you can't see color. That motherfucker. Woo! You know what's funny?
Yeah.
Because they showed the picture, the when they teased Batman in the Flash, when Andy Muschietti posted it.
Yes.
And there's blood on the logo.
Mm-hmm.
That close up, the suit was gray. It looked gray.
It was.
It's
Yeah.
definitely gonna look better in film than what we're
So this
we're
looks
looking at.
black.
So.
Now,
But
this looks,
also, no, I'm
So
sorry.
maybe-
Go ahead, Joel.
I said maybe it's the lighting, you know, because if you look close enough, like there's a slight difference in color with the light hitting the shoulder pad and the gauntlets. There might be a difference of color, but I know it's hard to tell here. But yeah, it does look classically like a Keaton costume.
I mean, and look. At the end of the day, we obviously know we're not getting Batman movies from Keaton. So to me, I'm like,
That's telling me.
I feel as though we're only gonna get sprinkles of it. So I'm like, it's not enough for me to care either way. I'm just saying I would have made changes. That's all. Again, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm very neutral.
We just don't have
Very
you don't have the bright yellow belt. That's very different from the.
I would have loved that, right? I would have loved that here.
But I would have liked his suit to be a little grayer for sure, just so it looks more like you were saying, like the Batman animated series look.
Right. That's all I wanted, because I'm like, if you're doing an older Batman, that suit would be perfect. And of course, I'm not saying Batman from the animated series was an older Batman. He was obviously younger. But I'm like, this would be the perfect time to pull it off. A Flash movie that's so bright, so colorful. You bring that color palette to that movie, that would be very visually pleasing.
But if you're selling the Keaton Batman, and this is classic Keaton Batman.
No arguments. That's why I said I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm very neutral. Very neutral here. But look, hopefully, because this leak came out, maybe we'll get the official one. Maybe we'll get more things to come from this movie. Because I kind of feel like whoever leaked this, it won't be long before we see maybe Sasha Callier in full suit.
We've already seen her in full suit. We just haven't seen her with the cape.
No, not from set foot. I mean, I want something like this. Like this.
Okay.
Yeah, like promotional. Yeah, because I know we see it in set photo, but like we always say, I don't ever like to judge that.
I mean, they were pretty good. They were pretty good on set photos.
No, for sure. But sometimes when they do promotional, the lighting is different and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They gloss it up a little bit. So I'm like, I would like to see all those Flash character suits like this. Just to get a better look, especially because we gotta wait a fucking year to get the movie now. So yeah,
Especially
give me
now,
this to chew on. Yeah, give me this to chew on. But all right, so that's pretty much all we had for this DC news, guys. We're not gonna go much longer. I want to give a shout out to AJ and Joel for joining me in this conversation. All in the game, Mr. E, listener Jim, you guys are awesome. We appreciate you. I always love talking DC with you guys because we're usually always on the same page, unless it's the CW, and that's when we kick AJ out there. But we're usually all on the same page. Why? Because that is and again, nothing against Marvel, but that's our universe right there, man. That's our universe. We want it to succeed so fucking bad, so it's like, look, if this new head of Warner Brothers Discovery is the first piece to us getting the full puzzle of what a continuity for the DCEU looks like, a proper one, I can't fucking wait, man. I really can't. Can't. So I'm very curious to see. But yeah, a lot of you guys looking for movies like Nightwing and stuff like that. Just hold your horses, because there might be some redirecting.
Who knows now?
Some of these characters.
Yeah,
they might go.
Hold the fort.
Yeah, they might go. Yeah, Michael Keaton, you were here for this and this, but we want to bring Robert in. So we wanted to bring you back. Have fun with it, but goodbye. Like maybe you could do Elseworld stuff, but we're gonna bring this guy back in. So it'll be very interesting to see what his plan is. I can't wait. We'll see. But for now, We just look forward to the DCEU movies we have coming this year, and Black Adam and Shazam. And we get ready for Titans, Stargirl, all those other shows. We get excited for that, and we just wait. You know, this is a whole new regime, so let's not rush to kick them in the ass. Let's see what they do first, and then if they fuck up, we will gladly kick them in their ass with a smile on our face.
Nice.
No remorse.
No remorse.
No,
but we thank you guys. Make sure you guys tune into GVN Talk tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. But till then, guys.